Welcome to the BAM Pod. Welcome in, everybody, to the BAM Pod. I'm your host, Big Ed, and on the line tonight, I have got a man, the man. He's a two-time Bassmaster Classic qualifier. He's a three-time USA team member. He was the Bass Euro Cup captain. He is known as Double G, Greg Gutierrez, who just went out, and he won $50,000 on the BAM Trail Super 60 Cup. And, man, it's not even the first time he's won on our trail. Greg, welcome into the show. It is so good to have you on again, man.
Yeah, thank you so much, man. I'm always happy to be here.
I know you are, because every time you're on here, you've just won something, man.
Well, yeah, that is true that.
You know, you won the very first Pro-Am we ever had up on Shasta, you know, where I feel like everybody, you know, once you show up on Shasta, I feel like everybody feels like you are the odds-on favorite on, you know, for the most part, which is not always true. And everybody out there's some really good sticks. But now we went over and you had to go out there. The Super 60 is a whole new beast, man, on the West Coast. And, you know, you fished the Apex, you fished all this other stuff. And you know what it's like to go up against the best. But Super 60 is now showing off some of the West's best anglers flat out. How does it make you feel going into this thing and then walking out with a win and one of the largest pots I think we've seen in so long out here in the West Coast? I can remember a couple of them, but $50,000, man, that's a heck of a prize right there.
Oh my, you know, we talk about this, you know, the West best, and we're talking the West. We're not talking, oh, it's California and it's a zip code tournament trail. This is not. We have guys flying in here from Alabama, right? Coming in from, I mean, college anglers, good college anglers coming in, fishing this thing. We've got graduates that have made the nationals, have fished in more states, other states than California, than most of these long-time tournament pros here. These guys have been all over the world. We got Brian Smith. He fished the NFPL. He fished now he's fishing the Bassmaster Elite Tour. We got Ish Monroe, you know, Bassmaster Elite Tour. How many times did he make the Bassmaster Classic? MLF. I mean, we got some superstars here, you know, and so it's not like, you know, we're fishing against slouches. We got some hammers in there, you know. Zach Thompson, two-time Bassmaster Open champion. I mean, come on, we got some hammers in there. So it doesn't feel bad to win. It feels pretty good. Doesn't feel bad to lose.
It's very interesting that you say. It's very interesting that you say it that way. You know, because for so long, it was kind of the opposite, right? I mean, it was, oh, we lost Skeet Reese to back there. Ish Monroe went back there. You know, Cody Meyer, Luke Clausen, all these guys, I mean, they went back east. And now what you just said, a few of them, they're coming back this way. And I think there's a lot to be said for coming out here. I've talked to a ton of them. I've talked to Shaw Grigsby. I've known Shaw for a long time, and he's like, I would love to come out and fish in the West again. Well, there's a tour out here for you. You want to come fish a prom? You want to come fish some? There are so many guys out there that I've talked to that we've lost a few West Coast guys to go back east. There's a place for them to come back to here. How did that, you know, what do you think about that?
I think it's great. I mean, you know, if some of these guys' schedules aren't quite as stacked as they are, and they can make arrangements, you know, which is easy enough. I mean, I fished the Bassmaster Tour, the Fitco 150s. I had a boat that I traveled with, and I had a boat out here. I fished the Bassmaster Elite, same thing. And even up until 2 weeks ago, I had I had my tournament bass cap, my STS. My Puma STS, and then I had my my other backup boat, my Pantera. So, you know, it's all doable. These guys got options, and they can fly back and forth. Besides, it's a month off limits, and these guys put fish together. You know, put together plans and everything else to catch fish and locate fish so fast and efficiently that, you know, I mean, they're doing it now with MLF. So what's the difference? They got these MLF anglers. They don't hand them a cruddy little map. They get a fish out of their own whip and go out there and do their thing. So I don't know. If I was back there and I had an opportunity to join this is a thing. I mean, this is significant.
This is legitimate, huh?
Yeah, this is significant. Yeah.
Well, you know,
I mean, I got 50,000 bones sitting in
Yeah.
there. I walked away with a check in my hand and this big old honking trophy. I'm telling you, one more trophy like that, I'm going to have my house seismically checked to make sure it can carry the weight load.
Wow, there's a brag. No, I'm just you know, it's funny. I talked to, you know, Fred Rombanis not that long ago, and I said, you know, the problem is that you're just not good enough to come back and fish on the West Coast anymore. you know, I mean, I think I don't care. I'm throwing that challenge out there. You know what? Come fish our pro-am. See if you can make it. See if you've got what it takes to come back from fishing back east to come back out here on the west. I'd love to see who can make it. You know, it's
oh shoot.
There's some big
Look at that. You know, you got Fred, you got Lintner. I mean, Jimmy's living in Texas. It's not that far away. You can hop over. It's not like he doesn't know the waters. I mean,
right. And I don't, you know, and the funny part is, I don't think we need to invite them back or have them back out here. I mean, it just, there are some great fishermen. I mean, we've got, you know, guys who have done great out here. I mean, Ostrander's here. He's a heck of an angler. Yourself for sure is a heck of an angler. But there's so many options out there. I think the draw is for us when we see those names or hear those names is it almost legitimizes our tournament out here, the BAM Trail, which I don't think is going to need to be legitimized after about maybe a year, next year. You know, if it keeps going the way it's going and the big numbers that we're seeing and the waiting list to get into the Super 60, which ended up being 69. Way to go. You know, I feel like it's not going to Super 60 is not going to hold. It's going to have to be bigger. You know, it's going to be the Super 75 or it's going to have to be the, you know, whatever it is, it's going to have to be bigger because there's so many people that want to fish it now. And how can you blame them when you're seeing, you know, the big, you know, you walked out of there with a great big check that you can't cash, but you can, you know, put on your wall, the trophy, the whole thing, plus the check you can cash. I mean, there's a lot to what you just did on Lake Don Pedro. And you know, we should really get into what you did on Lake Don Pedro. It was one of those tournaments that, well, you know, one of the guys that you talked about on the stage, you know, you said, I just beat Sean Minderman. Now, Sean walked up, huh?
He's a hammer.
Oh, I know. And here's the best part. Sean walks up on day one and says, oh, by the way, come get me. Here's a 13-pounder to look at, you know? It's like, are you kidding me? This guy drops a 13-pound fish on the scale, and that rocked the world. You know, that was like, hey, I'm here. Come get me. Yep. I mean, and he was sitting in first place. Here's the best part, and I think it's one that is so different. And what a lot of these guys, Bryant Smith said it, I think, best. He goes, I have never fished anything quite like this. It is an amazing way to go about it. You took the side of Tourney X and you took numbers. You made it on numbers to the top 10. And I mean, big numbers. You blew people away. You had 54 keepers?
I think 56.
56 keepers to make it to the top 10. Now, people can say, yeah, but you're catching 14-inch fish. It's like, yeah, well, you go try to go out and catch 56 keeper bass on a lake like that. Guys were talking about, they were catching 50 and 60 and only catching 2 that were keepers. So it's crazy to think that you went out there and pulled that up and caught 56 keepers.
Right.
And it's a format that's very tough to get a hold of, but you figured it out.
So here's the truth of that whole thing. We'll kind of just nutshell it, but I came in with almost 17 pounds, just shy of 17 pounds on day one, which was a significant weight 18 was second, right?
Right.
So I was still top 6, top 5 in weight
Right.
on day 1,
Oh yeah.
but I had keeper. So I wasn't just catching 14 inchers and getting them in there. Yeah, I did. I put some line burners on there, but day 2, day 1, I started realizing I'm around big fish. Day 2, I figured out how to target those big fish, put 3 of them in the boat, and said I can't catch another one. And I started looking for other fish. I had a small limit. I had,
Right.
a 3, a 4, and some 2s. I 13 pounds. I'm okay. And I started looking for other fish, and I started going down the bank. I left the area, left what I was doing, and I started going down the bank. By that time, I had 9 fish, and I seen a fish flash on my glide bait. So I picked up a down bait, pitched it at it, and shook it around a second, and doink, fish eats the bait. I bring it in. It's almost a 3-pounder. Now, keep in mind, I got a 2-pounder in the boat, but I'm looking for fish, and I know this fish is on a bed. So I'm thinking, okay, what do? Do I take this fish that's hot, put it in my boat, and take it away? Or do I put it on the board, click, turn the exit, throw it back in, put it in as 3 pound or 2 pounds? I underestimated it because my scale didn't work. Wink, 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 wink. I put it in as 2 pounds. I threw it back in the water, it swam right back to the bed, and I released a 3-pounder and kept a 2-pounder. And I did that 3 times.
Wow.
Going down the bank. Just because those fish needed to be back so I could come back for them.
Right.
So, people think, oh, all we're doing is catching little squirts. Go catch 34 14-inch fish or 39 14-inch fish under the gun and still come in weighing
17, 18
almost
pounds.
18.
Right.
Yeah, 17 pounds. Go for it. Come on over here, jump on the lake with us at the same time, see what happens. I promise you, it's
it
ain't
different. Easy for sure. And just the way you say that, it is 100% a strategy, right? I mean, and this is
correct.
This is the part, I heard Zach Thompson talk about this. I heard yourself talk about this. Is I left fish out there, and at some point, you had to stop and say, okay, I am going to make the top 10 on Sunday. We took 69 anglers. We cut it down to 10, 5 from the keeper side, 5 from the weight side. And that's, I really want to, say that guys, Zach Thompson was the guy that I felt so good for, and I felt so bad for at the same time, because he got the first call was he didn't make the cut. And then there were double qualifiers. There were some other things that made it, and he made it at the end. And he's one of those guys. He's a really, really, he's a mental angler. He really thinks about what he's doing. He knows exactly how he wants to go about it. You're the same kind of guy. You already think about that and how you're going to go at it. And it's like, oh, he just squeaked in, and it's like, man, did he miss? Did he make it? Did he miss it? And it's one of those things. But then it all goes to 0. And that, I think, is that, you can go out and say that, hey, yeah, I got all these keepers, but I also had weight. Sean Minderman drops that 13 on there. Doesn't matter. He made top 10. Great. But the last day, it's 0. So now there's a whole new game to play.
Here was the beauty of my thought process I released 3+ pound fish back to their beds. I had those to go to. They're marked, ready to go. They're propped up. And those were the bucks. So I know the hens are there. I know the weather's coming. I know it's going to be cloudy. I know that the fish are going to feel comfortable with the overcast and the wind and the rain, and it's just going to be easy. I know exactly how to make the cast. It's going to be fine. I know I have 3-pound fish easy in the boat. I know that those guys hit between Sean and Jake. I know that they burned up all their big fish, both of their weights. You know what I mean?
Right.
They burned their big fish. You can't reweigh those things. They're gone. You took them to the scale.
Yep.
So now what are you going to do? I found how to catch bigger fish. On day 2, I locked it down as a pattern. I knew I had something going with it. And when I left, I decided, okay, I'm going to stop and fish bridge pilings, put together a little simple bag, and I'm just going to check a couple of things, put 2 good fish in the boat, and went, okay, now these fish are going. If I go over here and I catch this one, this one, this one, I don't have a reason to have to idle back 15 minutes to the back and idle back to and race. I'd waste a half an hour fishing just to go around a 100-yard stretch of bank. It didn't make any sense to me. So mathematically, I just stayed and I called out everything that I had in that 13 pounds. And then I think I by quarter pound each, and then I called those out, all doing the same thing. Within 45 minutes of blasting off, I was still calling, going, I have to leave. I have to leave to make it back because I know I got 35-mile-an-hour gusts out there. Right. I'm going to come around the corner and, it's going to be lumpy. And I really didn't calculate into the case at that basket, that Puma STS. Man, it was just butter out there. It was an amazing ride. That's for sure. My Marshall's looking at me, Joaquin's looking at me going, I thought it was going to be terrible. He goes, it was so nice. I go, I told you. But yeah, no, that was a strategy. It's all strategy in that, and you're right. Zach understands the strategy also.
Tackle Warehouse has been the premier online tackle shop since 2003, with a huge selection of not only the latest and greatest from the biggest brands, but the hard-to-find regional specialties as well. Tackle Warehouse. Click, save, fish.
It's funny. I get up in the mornings. I have no interest in getting up at 3:00 like you guys have to do to get out there and go out. So I come out and all of a sudden this wind is just nasty. I look out at that lake. There's some white caps here and there. There's some nastiness going on. It had rained earlier that morning. It was nasty. The wind, the cloud covers had come in, and you were honestly the first person I thought of because I went, Greg says this every single time he's up there. I like it when it gets tough. And if you were bed fishing at all, if you were looking for fish, if you even when they were marked with that kind of wind, with that kind of waves, with that kind of everything going on, a tough fishery, it became a very tough fishery. And guys that enjoy tough fisheries like yourself, obviously we're going to excel.
That grin I came out and that wind started blowing and I'm going, yes, because I know they're not going to look at them. And
right.
And the wind that was just the breeze that was coming in. The winds were coming in the afternoon, so we were catching the front of it, and then all of a sudden the winds got there. I mean, it was sheeting. There was times I would hit my power pole move. I'd hit it on spot lock. I'd sit there. I would just grab my hat and hold my head down and wait for the gust to go by because I couldn't do nothing else. I could just stand there, lean into the wind. I couldn't cast. I couldn't hold a rod. I couldn't do anything. So I would just stand there, 2-3 minutes. The wind would just let up. I'd make the cast and just wait. I just wait for the pressure on the line. I'd feel that pressure change on. I'd just start reeling. Holy smokes, there's a fish on the end.
Wow. Now,
just that easy.
Now, it's that easy. Now, I always kid you a little bit when you're on stage about the whole frenzy thing because you are the owner and the maker of these amazing baits. And dude, and I lived and died off them for a long time too. I love those baits.
Yeah.
But you talk about it and people are thinking, oh, that's what he's out there doing. He's throwing the nail. But you came up with something new, and now you say it's out on the market. Yeah. Now you say it's out there. And
it's out there.
You also said this is something that you used this weekend. It was a big player in your game. Talk about it a little bit, and let's talk about the new frenzy thing.
Well, I got a new stroller head. It's FFS stroller is what it's called, and it allows the bait to roll really hard, but you can put plastics on it, and any plastic on it, and you can't hardly pull them off. You cannot. If you put on, when you start putting on those heavy plastics, a Sakamata shad or something like that, anything that's Yamamoto that's heavy salt, heavy weight, and you go to whip those things, they'll pull off. And so, you got to put glue on. I'm not a fan of glue. I don't I don't trust the smell and everything else like that. Obviously it works.
Okay.
But I don't like it. I'm not a fan of it. And so, I just took the barb that I had on a nail and I doubled it up, and it just, if you put something on there, you're going to destroy it taking it off. I mean, I could put a skinny dipper on there, a full-size skinny dipper, flip the tail a little bit so it rolls. There are a couple tricks I have, and man, it's a deal. But I don't make anything and put it on the market unless I fish it and it works. And so that, and a dart head, which I'm very reluctant to put out because not that many people throw dart heads. Everybody considers it old school every time I talk about it, but I have a dart head that's so perfectly balanced that I can drop a bait straight down any plastic. You put a flirt worm on and drop it straight underneath the boat and just jig it, and it will dance in a 2-3 foot circle and go right back to where it was. It's just amazing what it does. It's a heavily keeled bottom versus the FFS stroller, which is inverted. The weight's on top, so you relax the line, it flips to the side and creates a lot of flash. So I've got two baits. One bait's on the market, the FFS stroller. It's going. I've got a couple of guys that are using them on the Elite. I know that they're selling. They're selling a lot of them.
Well, there are a few guys out there, myself included, that are, still old school enough to throw a dart head. So if you decide you'll sell them. 100%.
I will. I'm almost done with them, but I use those dart heads in a tube for this thing, and guys don't realize the power of a tube or what it does. But you throw those strolling minnow baits, and this is kind of what I was doing, is that the strolling bait goes side to side and it creates that flash. But the tube, I put that dart head in the tube and I've used the same action, and it doesn't roll side to side, but it pulses up and down, and it just has that pulse, and I can swim it through the water column. I get it down to the depth and I just swim that bait through the water column, and the fish just come up and load up on it, and doink, next thing you know, you hear the drag on that 7 reel, and it's a done deal.
Well, you went out there, and you did an amazing job on a lake that went through so many different phases when we were out there. Because like day one was not bad at all. It was a nice day. It was a good day to go fishing, right? And then you come up, day. And then second day, and it's a little windier, it's a little cloudier, it's like there's a storm coming, but it's not quite there yet. And then third day is the storm's here. It was going.
Yeah, it was like that too, in your face.
And you had to adjust to all that, man. And once again, you did an amazing job doing that. I want to ask you too, though, something that you and I talked about, and something that you mentioned before, and I hope that actually starts to happen a little bit more, and I hope we can do it for the Super 60, is the observers in the boat on the last day, on Championship Sunday. 10 guys. 10. Well, I don't want to say 10 guys. I've got to stop saying 10 guys. 10 anglers, 10 people that want to go out, get in a boat, and watch you guys fish, just to be there to make sure the rules are, upheld, that sort of thing. You're not fishing. We have some observers. That's what they are. You had an observer. We brought him up onto the stage. We talked to him on the live. We did the whole thing. And I'd love to hear your opinion of having observers in the boat for the final day. Not the whole event. That's too many to try to get. But having them on the final day, having 10 of them there. And what do you think that really does for the sport? We talked about it, so I kind of know, but I'd love to hear what you think it does for the sport.
Well, one thing you didn't mention about that, sure, there's rules, this, that, and the other, but as far as everything else, BAM is a media company. If we were to give these guys the handheld, the handheld grip, what do you call them, GoPros, that they can actually go through and teach them how to just do the momentary thing, every 5 minutes, or even just put on a long thing and let it go and let them do that. We got a media guy in there, medium person in there helping do that. Safety wise, if something happens, What happens if you're by yourself? We got no net rule, and next thing you know, we got a jerk bait and it's stuck all in our hands. How are we going to do this? There's some safety involved in that. There's a lot of things that go with it, but to be honest with you, we're growing a sport. Now, this guy here, all he could say, Joaquin was like, man, I'm living my dream. He says, we learned, he's saying, Greg, we've watched all your videos on YouTube. We watched everything you've been in. He says, we learned how to fish from you. And it's just like, wow, that was a heavy burden right there to realize that I have that much impact just here. And he's not the only person that said this to me, but it is something. As stewards of the sport, we should be promoting this, trying to grow it, and get guys like Joaquin and his brother to come out and start fishing these things. And we started talking about it. I said, Bud, you need to come fish one of the pro-ams. I go, you of course wouldn't be just sitting there. You would be holding a net, fishing away also. And he goes, but how would I catch fish behind you? I go, the same way I catch fish in front of me. You cast out there. If you get bit, you set the hook. That's how it works.
It's that simple.
It is.
Right?
It's the truth. Like, it is. It's that simple. You're going to have to work for it, bud. You got to pay attention and learn and make changes. But I really believe that I don't see the downfall for this. If all 10 of us have an observer in the boat, then who cares if you lose 2 or 3 miles an hour? Who cares if the guy, you can't lay out 20 rods over there extra or whatever? Just come on, get a grip. You made the top 10. You should have this thing down to 4 or 5 rods. I had 2 rods. I had a gut pile on one side of the boat I had rods everywhere. Next thing you know, everything's piled on one side. And I looked at a picture, and I had 1 rod laying over there and 1 rod in my hand. And that was it. I was cycling through 2 rods. So, you know what I'm saying? I believe that there is an opportunity with this. Joaquin's going to go out and he's going to talk to his buddies. And he said, man, I will do this again anytime. I will come down here. You guys call me. I will do it. He's ready. He's sold.
Yeah. And that's really what I think is that every time I have heard observers, I know guys who have been observers when the Bassmaster Elites were out here. I know that they get there, and it is still a story in their lives all the time. Like, they just remember how amazing that was. That guy got to sit in the back of Joaquin got to sit in the back of your boat and watch a master do what a master does, man. You went out there and put on a clinic for him. He got to see it firsthand and go, oh, wow. Now, as far as it being easy to catch fish behind you, I've fished behind you before, and dude, you're a freaking vacuum cleaner, and you catch what you catch. I fished behind Zach Thompson, I fished behind you, I fished behind Mark Lassane. There are a lot of guys out there who don't understand that you have to pay. I give non-boaters, AMs, COs, whatever you want to call them, I give them so much credit because I've done that, and they have to go out there, and you have to. I learned from Zach Thompson so well. Don't hit anything that I've hit. Hit everything that I missed.
Right.
You've said that to me before. It's like, hey, if I'm doing this, do something a little different or close to what I'm doing, but not exactly, but do it at a different pace. Do it at this or do it at that. I mean, there's just the things that I've learned. It's crazy. But when you are fishing behind somebody that you really admire and someone that is a great fisherman, it is so hard to sometimes just stop and watch. And if you're an observer, I think that's an amazing thing. You get to sit there, you get to watch these guys and go, oh, you know what? I can do that. I know what I can do with that. I know. You're sitting there watching somebody that you like you said, I've watched all your videos. I've seen all of this. I've seen that. I've seen your wins. Okay, cool. Come out and fish with me. Come out and fish with the Pro-Ams.
What the flock are you waiting for? California's newest luxury entertainment destination, Chicken Ranch Casino Resort, is ready to play. Experience laid-back luxury in our modern hotel, a casino floor with views of the Sierra, and diverse restaurants and bars that'll keep you squawking for more. Experience the all-new Chicken Ranch Casino Resort, located just 60 minutes from Yosemite National Park. Visit playchickenranch.com to book your trip today.
Yeah, Randy Pearson's dad was an observer, and he's going, I wanted to fish with you so bad. He goes, I hope I draw you tomorrow, man. I hope I get to go with you. And I'm going, well, what's up with that? And he goes, well, you fish that nail so much. He goes, and that's my new favorite bait. He's admitting, he goes, that is my new favorite bait. And even Randy goes, yeah, we just started fishing it and we love it. And he goes, I would get to see how you fish that bait in so many different ways. I go, and I go, I'm glad you understand that I don't just fish it one way. I fish that bait a bunch of different ways because it's a very versatile jig head. I mean, sure, it's a shaky head, but it's way more than that. And Randy Pearson's dad was just, oh man. And then it was like, well, God, I guess he drew it Brian Smith, Bassmaster Elite Angler. You can't complain about that draw. And he was, oh, I'm kind of happy with this one too. I says, heck yeah, I would be. I would have gladly drawn him, but after this tournament.
Yeah. It's going out on Don Pedro. And now, Super 60, our next stop is Lake Mojave. A little different.
Mm-hmm.
I've never been there, so I can't talk from experience on how it fishes, but the guys that I have talked to, some of them are, it could be good, it could be bad. It's one of those lakes that has potential to be a really good lake, has potential to be a really stingy lake. When you look at something like that, and like I said, you are one of those guys that's always said, I like it when it's tough. Is that a lake when you're looking forward and you're going, hey, Mojave's next, man, we're going down there, we're going to be in the desert, we're going to be fishing this great lake. Guys, Marty Lawrence is going to be 25 minutes from the lake. This is his home water. How do you look at that and go forward and say, okay, I've got to go to a lake that, I don't know how many times you fished it, if you've ever fished it, and how do you look
I
at something
fished it once
like that?
before.
There you go. How do you look at that and go, okay, how am I going to approach this lake? It's a fairly large lake, right?
It is, and to be honest with you, there's a lot of information on it, from videos and everything else like that, and past experience, but nothing in this time frame. Nothing really in this time frame that I could see, and especially nothing that we're going out of. I understand that it can be a really big water lake if the wind's blowing. So making long runs is questionable. But when I went there, I really liked the lake. I had the bites. But man, the mussels there are serious. And I found out that guys don't throw that much light line there. They throw heavier line, and they can get away with it. So it's like, okay, I'll just throw heavier line next time. I learned a lesson. Why throw 8 or why throw 6 when you can throw 10 and they eat it just as good, right?
Right. I mean,
so I learned a valuable lesson, but showing up to those things is what it is. The fish are fish. We all have what we like to fish and what we do. I always say fish your strengths. I like to go around and look at areas that remind me of home, something I'm comfortable with, and then I try and break them down. I did that with the Bassmaster Elite Series wherever I went. Fortunately, I came from, out here. We have a diverse enough background and body of waters that we can break down. We can see more stuff. Highland reservoirs, some swampy stuff, some delta stuff, some mountainous stuff. All that stuff is all good. River channel stuff, all that stuff is good. But Mojave's. From what I understand, a lot of big smallies, a lot of big largemouth in there, and it does not have spotted bass, which is, it's a tough one for me, but I'll get over it. But I'll go down and I'll try and break it down the best I can. I mean, honestly, and guys don't realize this, we'll go out there and we look at that and we go, okay. And if you follow any of the other tournament circuits that do this, MLF has theirs. You look at their rod, their deck on their boat, they got 20 rods out. Yeah. And all they got to do is just grab one. So you don't just grab your favorite and then go, oh, I'll just retie it if I need to, because you won't. So tie it up, put it on there, and that forces you to look at it, pick it up, and throw it. And it's the person that does it the most, the quickest, finds the pattern the best. Once you get the pattern, you just fish,
Yeah, that's gonna, I look at that, and like you said, smallmouth, largemouth lake. There are some guys who, and you're not one of those guys that I'm going to say, oh, you only know how to catch spotted bass, because that's not anywhere near close to the truth. I believe you did some pretty good setting of some weights out there on Clear Lake, and I'm pretty sure that's a mostly not spotted bass lake. I think did you break the century mark out there?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
I did.
I thought that in that tournament you did. I was like, that was like the one that 6 people or 5 people broke the century mark at that event.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing. You have gone out there and you know how to catch largemouth. You know how to catch these big fish. I mean, you went up to Almanor, and which back in the day I really remember as being one of your favorite lakes to go to as well, because that's a great lake up there, and it's just loaded with big smallmouth and good catching up there. And when we talk about going down to Mojave and we're talking about largemouth and smallmouth, and it could be a tough one, it's like I really think that this kind of plays into some of your strengths, and the fact that, like you said, it's going to be a tougher one. The mussel thing is an issue. Is it something? I don't want to go into mussels too much, but I do. You talked about, I don't want to throw a light line the same way. I don't want to do this the same. You've got to bring it up a little bit more. What do you when you see that and you do, what is it like? Hey, I'm just going to go up to bigger line, but at the same time, that's clear water, right? I mean, as far as I remember, what I've talked about, these guys talk about really clear water at Mojave. All the desert lakes down there, from what I understand, are pretty clear. And when we were on Martinez, definitely some clear water.
Yes, it was.
Do you have to really just, pay more attention to your line at that point? Like, if you make a cast, check it just run your finger down at every time, or is it such a thing that you just kind of go out and know it?
No, you got to pay attention more to your structure you're fishing around. So when I went there, I was casting around rocky areas and bouncing a nail around there, and I was hooking up these big largemouth that were pre-spawn, and they would get me down in the rocks. I would be fighting them, and I'd feel it, and all of a sudden, don't get cut off. And honestly, it cuts off 10 pound just as easy as it cuts off 6 pound. But if I can catch them on 6 pound or 10 pound, I'm going to do it. I'll upgrade, But those mussels are like little razor blades, and same on Havasu and everything else like that. And it's a cost of doing business.
Right. Sure. And, and that's pretty much, I know that's not what California is doing. The reason we weren't on Maloney's is because Maloney's had shut down. And I know that they're not looking at it and going, oh, well, it's going to cut your line if they get in the water. They don't care about that. They care about what they actually do to the waterways and what they can do to the, that sort of thing. And I know that the moving mussel, we have gone through this whole thing with the zebra mussels, with the quagga mussels. Our lakes are still pristine to this point, as far as I know, because of the fact that bass anglers have gone through all of this. Like, there's never been any in Clear Lake at this point, which is right next to the Delta. Most of our guys, I mean, Ken Mall went on, built a video, made a video showing that he went over because he fishes the Delta so much, and had his boat washed, clean, done over at Berryessa, and took the time to make that. When you go to waters like that, are you going to be in the same kind of situation? It's like, yay, once I come off there, I'm getting this thing completely washed out, cleaned out, done before you come back?
You kind of got to, to be honest with you. I mean, you kind of have to. I mean, if we want to keep our waterways nice and
Mm-hmm.
accessible, we kind of got to do it, but we're not the only ones out there. We've got the big wakeboarders with the big ballast tanks and everything else like that, and that's the thing. And we just gotta make. I think that I believe that the bass fishermen are the bass anglers, excuse me, are way more ahead of it than the recreational boater. They're, you know, it is what it is. They're not traveling from
Yeah.
lake to lake to lake to lake. They're doing a big heyday. We're going to Lake Mead. We're going to Havasu for spring break, and we're doing this.
Right.
Nobody goes, oh, I'm going to Clear Lake with my wake boat, and have 25,000 bass boats buzzing around me like little fleas and stuff like that. But even the wet bikes, the jet skis and stuff like that, I think really need to be more conscientious on
Yeah.
on what's going on where they're doing. That
Absolutely.
being said, yeah, it's
Go ahead.
it's I think bass anglers have really um taken large steps and made big sacrifices to help prevent the spread of these invasive species.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I like you just said. I think that the bass fishermen have taken it very seriously. The bass boating community has taken it very seriously. I'm not saying that other boats don't, but maybe they don't take into consideration how much water and how much they actually move and what they need to do. But with
Hmm.
all that said, we are looking at this new Super 60. We're looking at some of the new movement on the Pro-Ams. And you said it first at the beginning of the show, talking about the we are West Coast now. We're not just
Yes,
California. It's
right.
Washington. It's could be Idaho. It's going to be, Oregon. It's going to be Arizona. It's going to be. Is there any one that you're fishing both? You're fishing the Pro-Ams, you're fishing the Super 60. Is there
Right.
any one that you're just like, I really can't wait to go see that and I want to fish that body of water?
I want to go back up to Oregon and then wash. I want to fish that pothole things. I've heard about it. My sister's like an
Mm.
hour away, and I have never fished that area up there. I mean, the
Wow.
only thing I've fished is the Columbia River, and
Hmm.
and and I'm really looking forward to going back to the Columbia River because I like that. I like that lower pool a lot. Um,
Yeah.
but that potholes thing really intrigues me. I mean, I'm just I wouldn't mind going up there and doing that. It's a long ways, and
Mm.
all I got to do is fish my little three down here. I'll be qualified to fish the TOC. All will be good. It'll be fine. But um,
Right.
if I can get that in my schedule, I would do it.
Yeah, I
But
mean that's a lot of people have said that. So I've never been there, so I'm absolutely intrigued to see what it looks like. All I was told was when you're on that stage, you better learn the word Puyallup because
what is
there's
it?
going to be a lot of anglers coming from Puyallup. And I'm like, okay, I'll remember.
Pew
I'll remember that when I get up
pew
there.
Puyallup.
Puyallup. Yep, and it's like okay, perfect. And um, but it's one of those areas that, like you said, I think I've heard a lot of people say that. So it's going to be a very intriguing um, fishing adventure and seeing that water. I'm hoping to get out maybe early and get on one of the boats and go out with Mark or something to do some camera work and just see the lake myself because it's this is all an adventure for all of us. I mean, some of them have been
Right.
up, in these places, and obviously there's going to be anglers that are in the pro-ams that are coming up there that have fished that all the time. But I've heard some really cool things about it. It's like, oh, if you like fishing, trees and brush and that sort of thing, it's all there. If you like fishing this and fishing that, I've heard it's a lot like what was it? Was it Texoma that somebody said?
Oh,
There's
okay.
another there's another lake down
Gotcha.
there. I was trying to think. It's more of a trees and bushes and things like that are all over the place. But I also heard
I know
that the lake
Falcons like
shift
that.
that the what is? Oh,
Falcon.
Falcon. Yeah. And
Yeah.
they said that the lake shifts a lot. And I'm like, I don't understand that. They said apparently it's got a lot of sandy bottom or something. So you have to
Right.
it's going to be so intriguing to see some of these places we're going to go. And I mean, like you said, we went up there. I got to see the Columbia River for the very first time up there, and the way it fishes, and holy moly, was that thing great to fish, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I've never quite seen fish that eat and feed the way that those smallmouth up there did. It was like you throw a jerk bait out, jerk it a couple times, and there was 35 fish following it.
Right.
Holy
Exactly.
moly.
You landed on the right school. Well, look at Cody. He you
Right.
know he had what 106 keeper count. Like
Yeah.
holy smokes.
We've paired one of the most iconic hulls in the history of bass boats with a proven lineup of trusted accessories. We're bringing you best-in-class value and performance, leaving others in your wake. Turnkey value, turnkey performance. The Pantera 2 is an overachiever in the 19-foot category. Once you hit the throttle, you'll feel the rush, and there's no looking back.
Hey folks, Randall and I want to talk to you real quick about choosing the right electronics mount for your bass boat.
Mark and I have been partnered with Bass Boat Technologies from the very beginning, and we know the quality and effort that Van Foster has put into this company.
Custom, that's the one thing that I think about whenever I think of Bass Boat Technologies. Van Foster has spent years, not hours, years perfecting these mounts. He works with just about every bass boat company out there, most models for every bass boat company out there. He has spent the time working on these bass boats. So what you get is a custom fitted mount, not some mass produced universal mount for every bass boat out there. Van makes them custom fit for your bass boat.
Bass Boat Technologies also makes a lot of other custom parts. Seat pedestal plugs, tool holders, steering wheel spacers, and battery trays are all made with the same attention to detail that Bass Boat Technologies is known for.
Bass Boat Technologies is a vital part of our livelihood, and it's very important to your overall boating experience also.
Absolutely, and that's why we choose Bass Boat Technologies. Check them out at bassboattech.com. You'll be glad you did.
It is crazy to just I wish that we could have the live television showing this stuff off, because there are so many great fisheries on the West Coast that people just don't see.
I know.
I talked to Colby Pearson about his area up there. I've talked to Bo Fletcher up there. I've talked, just some really good guys that are up that way, and they go, oh, there are so many good fisheries up here. It's just you can't fish them all and you can't see them all. But if we start spotlighting them and we start seeing these areas, and just the town of Boardman, Oregon, which I can tell you right now is this tiny little town that is absolutely beautiful to go to. Amazing little town. And you get there and they just support us. And I'm pretty sure that this year when we go in there, they really want to do a lot. So they are 100% on board with this whole thing up there, and it should be a wonderful event. But yeah, they
had the local fire department come out and roll out the truck, extended the ladder out and hung the flag, when we did our national anthem. It was just amazing. They really embraced us as a group of anglers, and you're gonna have 70 boats, running 70 boats running, at least $100 worth of fuel every day, so there's a little bit of money, for 3 days, 2 days, 3 days. And I just, there's a lot going on, meals, everything else, that we're a big boom, but our reach is incredible. This would be a great time to start talking about, if there is anybody out there with a action camera that's looking to sponsor a tournament trail, they should jump on with BAM right now and put their action cameras front and back on every one of the boats, so that we can do all this extra coverage to be able to produce it. What a great opportunity for a GoPro or anybody else that would have an action camera that wants to do that. Wouldn't that be cool?
I couldn't agree with you more, but at the same time, I'd love to step it up that one extra step. If there is anybody listening out there right now that knows of any channel out there that would love to have an outdoor show, this would be a great opportunity. That's how
Oh yeah.
MLF started. That's how Bass started. That's how all these
Yeah.
organizations started. They got a TV program out there that brought their cameras. They've got the cameras. They've got the cameraman. They've got all this stuff, and they can produce a TV show, come out championship Sunday, follow the last 10 guys on these amazing waters, come out to the pro-ams, all this. You can have an amazing television show, a live television show,
Oh yeah.
your own,
Yeah, for sure.
nobody else has on the West Coast.
Yep.
Thomas
Yep.
puts in so much work to put our shows out.
But it's a great show. He does an
really
outstanding
is.
job for one. He's not a giant media company or nothing, but
He is
he
not.
understands fishing. He understands everything. He does great on it. I mean, he really does put together a good show, and he puts information out there that anglers that are watching it can learn from, which was really a good deal. I mean, really a good deal.
If you're listening right now and you don't know what we're talking about, we actually put out a 1-hour television show. It's bamshow.com. You can watch the TV show. It's on YouTube. It's also on the Outdoor Action Network. You can go out there and you can see great anglers like Greg Gutierrez, Ken Maw, Bryant Smith, you name it. These shows go out. So the one that we just did, the Super 60, is all going to be aired. So that one will be out in, I don't know, a couple months probably after this. It usually takes him a couple months to get them out. There's one coming out here soon. One of the championships is coming out. So yeah, I mean, you can get and you can watch these shows. And like Greg just said, I mean, there is some opportunities out there. If you're an action, if you have a camera and you want to get them on these boats and you want to do this stuff, I mean, all these guys need cameras on their boats. It's an amazing thing that we don't have. It's 60 boats, it's 70 boats basically. Think about that. You donate 70 boats or 70 cameras or 140 of them and have one on the front, one on the back, and that's
one
like
in front,
Greg
one
said.
in back. Let's make it nice.
Let's make it nice, and you can do some great stuff and show what you have, and really overstress Thomas to the hilt. 140 cameras that he's got to go through that are hours and hours of footage. I mean, come on, that's perfect, right?
Imagine how grizzled he'd look after a day of doing that.
I think we could age him 10 years in a week.
We each show up with 2 cards. Each show up with 2 cards or 3 cards, and we turn in our cards each day.
With 8 hours of information on it for 3 days.
Yep.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah,
I think we could flat out just kill him.
Yeah.
But we might have to get a bigger staff at that point.
I mean, think about it. You'd have a chance to see some of the footage of what I do. I mean, I've had enough people offer me thousands of dollars just for me to take them out and give them, a couple-hour trip to show them how I apply what I do, and I've just said no. It's just because that is what my edge is. I possess that. That's mine for now. I'm getting old enough, though. I may give it to somebody down the road. It may be a lottery or something like that. Maybe we'll do a highest bidder. Something like that when I'm getting ready to retire, whenever that is. When I stop winning tournaments or catching fish.
Yeah, I don't know when that's going to be, because it's so funny because I'm trying to, now my brain's off on that part of it, but there was an angler, the godfather of flipping, down there on the Delta that was on oxygen. D
Thomas.
Yeah, D Thomas. And I'm out there
D.
fishing
Thomas.
a tournament, and this guy comes in, and you're like, oh, D's out there. He's still fishing, doing his thing. He's on oxygen. He can barely get in and out of his boat. He's got it all rigged up so he can be out there fishing, and still comes in and kicks everybody's butt. So, Greg, I got news for you, man. You may be, getting up there a little bit, but you haven't got there yet. So when you get to, you're up in your 90s, you're a firefighter, man. Your body's been beat up a little bit. So
I feel it more than most guys. Yeah.
So you're gonna one of these days you're gonna wake up and go, ouch. When you
Yeah.
do that, that's when you start your lottery.
Yep. Exactly.
But
Exactly.
yeah, I mean, going forward with this whole with the BAM trail with with the Super 60, um, I we fished a long time ago with the Federation and we did all that stuff. Did you ever really think that you would see this kind of a tournament out here on the West Coast?
Oh, well, we had talked about this for how long,
Yeah.
and yeah, it was once we started having that vision, it was like, this is doable. We can do this, and that was the whole beauty of having that whole thing, you know,
Right.
uh, built up, and with Mark coming in and building it to this point. Oh my, it's just if the opportunities are here, people just need to realize that the only way you use an opportunity is you come out and support the opportunity. That's it.
Right.
You got to support it.
Well,
So,
I think that's a simplification to an extent. I think
mhm,
what grows this sport and what's going to make this Super 60 or Super 100, whatever it ends up being in the end, to where we're giving away, $50,000, $100,000, that sort of thing, when you can come out and do this,
right.
is we have to have that corporate sponsors behind us. So we need to have
That's
people
true.
that understand that the West Coast has been I mean, if you go back east, you've been back east, you've seen those events where you go out and not only are there a lot of anglers fishing it, the crowds are there. They show up to the events and you're looking out there. And Greg, how many times have you looked out and seen 500, 600, 1,000 people
Oh yeah.
watching these events? When you're back east,
Yep.
they're there.
Yep. Yep. Exactly.
Big corporate sponsors see that and go, I want to have my stuff in front of that many people. And I
Yeah.
think
Well,
that's what we're missing.
everybody
That's the
does.
only
Yeah.
thing we're missing out here, is that nobody has taken bass fishing serious. Mark
Well,
Lassane
yeah.
has
Yeah.
made it a very serious thing now. Giving
Right.
away the amount of money he's giving away the boats he's giving away, making this an absolutely 100% serious sport out here.
Uh-oh.
Now
Did we
all
lose
we
you?
have to
Did we
do
lose me?
is did I? Hello? I can't. We lost internet again? No, I got internet. This time it's you.
How about now? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh,
Now we got you
wow.
back. I'm gonna have to do a little editing on this show. I'm
Yeah,
glad I
that's
did it a
all.
week ahead of time.
Yeah, no kidding, huh? But
Well, I don't know. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying, is that making now it's serious out here. So
yeah,
now all we have to do is we have to get the fans to start showing up, and when the fans start showing up, and we see these masses, that's when the corporate sponsors come on and go, hey, you know what? I want to be in front of that. I want to see my logo out there. I want to see it. Who cares?
mm-hmm.
Celsius, Jack Daniels. I don't care who's out there. I want to see those sponsors out there showing up and saying, yes, 100%, we want to be out there. Here's some
Right,
dollars. Let's
right,
make it
right,
real.
right. Well, I
Do
mean,
you do
honestly,
you
we
think
we
that can
we have.
happen?
I do. We need, bass fishing here is still kind of a cult group
Yeah.
of people. I mean, back east, you talk about Rick Pierce from Bass Cat. He says, well, we
Right.
just don't sell. We just don't sell that many boats out here because we don't have that many fishermen per capita. When
Right.
when I started fishing here in Red Bluff, um, I think there was like 3 or 4 true bass boats that were here in town besides me. And now, I think there's at least 50 to 60 guys that have bass boats here in this. And I live in a little town, so at
Right.
least 50 to 60 guys that have bass boats that are out there frothing up the water. And it's growing. Redding was a small small group, and now it's a large group, and we're getting more and more and more anglers stepping in. But with those anglers, we need anglers that are serious about being professionals. Let's not just say we're professionals and for the patches on a shirt, but let's be professional and make this a show. I mean, I'm giving away some of the things that I do, but as a media company, a camera guy comes in on my boat. I've watched guys just wave them off. Get back, man. I don't want you messing up my fish. Can I get on your boat? No, man. I can't do it. And it's like, yeah, come on in. Hang on. I'll come out to you. Go out, get them, come back in. Or if there's no room for them to get in here, I'll hook a fish. I'll back the boat up. I'll fight the fish around the other side, and I'll play the fish on that side of the boat, land them on that side of the boat. Cameraman gets his stuff. I get my fish. Everybody's happy. A show is born. But guys need to understand that we need to, as professionals, be professional. And so that's part of it. And that is what Mark has been doing and trying to get that going. But it is what it is. We're all learning, and I've been doing this for a long time, though. It's not like it just popped into my head. I was schooled by some good media guys going, hey, look, if you got a fish on, we want to see it. We want to see the fish catch. We want to see you excited. We want, I get pretty excited once I get the fish in the boat. Until then, it's
well,
it's just,
and that's that's. I'm sorry, but not to say too much, but that's Mike Iaconelli made his whole living off of that, being excitable. Running around the boat like a chicken with his head cut off, getting that fish in there, going berserk, and that some people hated it, some people loved it, but everybody tuned into it. It didn't matter, right? I mean, and
you noticed. Yep, you noticed it.
Yeah, it was not something that you turn your a blind eye to. It's like, no, he was right there in your face, and it made him a career. When you talk about that, it's like, oh, I can't go this, I can't go that. Don't come in on me. Don't be in my boat. Don't be. That's just saying, you know what, you don't want to be, and I think that's part of what's going on out here in the West Coast. I'm glad.
Yep.
I don't know. I'm glad we're having this conversation about it, because that's kind of one of the things that goes out on the West Coast is people still want to be secretive. People don't want to talk about their stuff. And
exactly.
Christian Ostrander said it best the last time I interviewed him. When he won over at Clear Lake, and he goes, "I can give you the bait, I can give you the rock, I can give you the line, I can give you my rod, I can do. You're not going to catch the same fish that I catch, and you're not going to do it the way I do it, and you're not going to be as successful. But I will give you everything, tell you to go out and do it." Because there is just differences. I mean, how many times have you been standing on the front of that boat with a guy, with a person, an angler standing right next to you, and you're throwing the same bait, you're throwing the same line, and you're catching fish and they're not? Anybody out there's done that, right? And it's like, what are you doing different? I don't know. We have the same line, we have the same rod, we have the same reel. What do you? There's something that you as an angler, that as a professional angler, you're doing something so minute that you don't even know that you're doing it, because it's subconscious. It's like, oh, I'm shaking this thing at a 3-2 pace, and the other person's throwing it is shaking it at a 4-4 pace, and it's like, nope, you're not going to catch them, because you need to be, shaking that thing every third rod. You need to pull it every third shake. You need to pull it 1 inch, and it's like, okay, you're pulling it 3 inches. It's things like that make the difference.
Well, they're keys, right? They're keys. They're keys into the house. It's like, hey, come. Hey, there's $50,000 inside of that building, and there's the door, there's the lock, and that's how you get into it. And the $50,000 is in that right in there, in a drawer right there. It's unlocked. Everything's there, but somewhere around here is a key, and it's hidden. And all you got to do is find it. And that's it. That is it. You find it. You find that key, which goes back to, day one. Me and Randy Pearson are sitting next to each other, standing. He's a local hammer. This guy is.
Right.
He's ex elite angler, right? He's a hammer on that lake. He's a hammer on any lake, and we're both doing the same thing. He's got his 2, I got my 2. We're just fishing those. We're not trespassing on each other. we're keeping it real. We work great together, and we come in at the end of the day, and he's got 20 something, and I've got 39.
Yeah.
What happened? I don't know, but I can tell you within 2 hours of me fishing that tournament, I could tell I was onto something. I could tell you, I when I came in that day, I was grinning because I was on something, and I knew it, and that was it. Now it's like I know there's, here's a bunch of doors, and I can tell you there's the door you want to go through, and right there's the lock. It's a kind of a weird lock, but here's 10,000 keys. Just go through them and open them. But if you show up to a building that's got 20 doors all the way around it with the same amount of keys, and there's only one $50,000 door, and you got to dig through them, it's tough. And if you don't hit the key just right, you ain't it. You're just not getting it. Takes time.
Yeah.
Takes time.
No, and it's one of those things that talking about the West Coast the way it is, the way that we need to grow it. I think it's a matter of right now we're in such a great poised position. Everybody listen out there right now. I mean, take some time. I don't know what it takes to get you to get up, say, you know what, I love this sport and I want to support this sport. So how do I get there? How do I get to a tournament? Let me take and drive my family, my kids, that sort of thing out there. Let me know. Let somebody know. Let us know what it takes to get you out there, because I'd love to. I want to be up on that stage. Greg standing next to me, one of these great anglers standing next to me, and I'm looking out at 1,000 anglers, and let me entertain those people, because that's what I would love to see out there. I would love to see this sport. I've always wanted to see this sport, and I know that people will do it, because I've seen it when the Bassmaster Elites come out here. So if we need to turn all of our anglers into the most popular things out there, then let's do that.
Right.
I mean, there's some young. One of the things that we didn't really talk about was like Joaquin in your boat, man. I mean, you're talking about young guys right there. There is now high school. There is now college. There is things that were never around when you were coming up in this industry. When I was out there fishing it, there are things coming up now that are. Could you imagine if they ever told me when I was coming up and I was a kid in high school, hey, if you do this, you can come fish on our bass team and we'll give you a scholarship to go to college to fish for us.
Well, look,
here's the deal. I might have taken it a little more serious.
Look at Ty. He took second place, right?
Oh,
it was just a few years ago. I was at Simpson University talking to him and his teammates from the Simpson University bass team. Now they are a nationally recognized bass team. They're good. They got a great program. They got good coaching. They've got strong foundational belief. These guys are good. And look at where Ty's coming from. He's coming from that, and look where he's at now. He's 22 years old. Heck, I didn't even start till I was 26 doing this. 27.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
I felt bad. I felt bad, but honestly, he's got 40 years to catch up to me.
You felt a little bad. I mean, come on. I mean, he just had his first kid.
I know.
I mean, look at how much diaper money you took from him, man.
I'm not being a dream killer. All I'm doing is I'm lighting a fire under his butt, and
you're dangling you're dangling the carrot out there, going, "Come on, kid, you want to come up? Come on up." But there are so many young guys out there. I mean, there's a Luke Johns out there, and that kid's already done that stuff. He's again fished with him and his buddy when they fished their first pro-am as co-anglers, and I took his friend out, and we went out, and I had him looking at bed fish and catching big fish, and dude, it's just been great. Luke started out as just that young little angler. I'm a Bryant Smith. Look at where he at. Same thing, Look at
kid hanging out of the trout
we can run down a list of guys. I mean, you got Hayden Lee, Conrad Demekis, Bryant Smith. I mean, the names that the young people, the younger generation coming up, this sport has some really, really, really good future out here on the West Coast. I don't want to lose them I mean, to anything. It's like I don't want them to go east. I want them to stay right here. I want them to make their money here. I want them to make their name here. I want people to understand about that.
We have the chance now to fish for real money now, and that's the thing.
Yes.
When was the last time somebody handed out a $50,000 check out here? I mean,
2 days ago.
That's right. That's right. That's right. No, that's a chunk. That's a chunk of money, man.
I still can't believe you went to work on Monday.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, you're right. I mean you can say whatever you want. $50,000 is a lot of money. Yes. Is it going to, are you going to stop paying your mortgage? No. But
no.
But at the same time, it all of a sudden, if you put a $50,000 check in your pocket, man, you have got some breathing room. You have got, hey, that's going in the bank, and I can sit and I can fish now and not have to worry about making sure that the lights stay on, making sure that this goes. It is a definite game. It is a definite game changer for a lot of people. But I think
you don't have to fish chicken.
I think one of the coolest things that I saw was Shasta when we had those young kids coming up. Like you said, we had the Simpson University, we had this university, we had Chico, we have Sac State out there. All these, and this one kid comes out, he's fishing by himself, and he wins the whole thing. And it's like, wow, that is amazing. That the caliber that we're seeing on the stage. When I was, we were up there 2 days ago. On the stage, I don't know, what was there, 3-4 guys who brought their kids with them, and it's like, this is going to be the future. These are the people that are looking at it right now and saying, oh no, my dad is a bass angler, and that's who I learned from. And now they're going to be on the stage, a kid in one arm, a bass in the other. I said, you know what, that's America. Well, you know what, that is America, and I'm glad to be a part of that America right there. That we see that and we say, yes, you know what. You can be a golfer. You can be a basketball player. You can be a baseball player. You can be this, that, and the other. Pick out, football players. It's a lot of hard work to get there, and the odds are so far against you of becoming that level, that professional. To get to the level that you're at right now, Greg, that is a tough level to get to, and we talked about that. You said, and I told you I was going to ask you that question. How much work do you have to put in to actually get to the level you're at? I mean, you're talking about, Ty was up there and, you're saying, oh, I've got 40 years of experience over that kid.
Yep.
So does he necessarily have to go 40 years to catch up to you? Or do you think we're at a level right now that they have gotten your information, your leadership has shown these guys what they can and can't do to get ahead in this sport, and now there are some doors opening up?
Well, yeah. First of all, the guys that are out here now are information savvy. The access to information is so much more readily available. Back in the day, the only thing we had was In Fisherman and Bassmaster magazine. Right, that was it.
True.
And
one bass magazine every once in a while.
Oh, that's right. We had the one bass thing.
Yep.
That was right. That's right. We did. It was a little rag, but it was a true fishing. And then they had a small section of saltwater. Now it's mostly saltwater and everybody catching fish. But anyway, I digress. But you learned more with time on the water, and so you get to see things differently. My experiences, take 40 years of experiences, is that in that a couple of hours that we were talking about that I had found something, I had already formulated, taken all those years of information of, I've seen this happen before, and I knew what was going to happen. And so I knew that everybody's talking, everybody's seeing big fish, I'm hearing people, I was around so many floaters, they were coming up, and when I left and went up to Moccasin and nobody followed me up there, I knew they were in those back pockets looking for fish. Well, I also knew that there was only going to be certain fish because of the direction of the wind that would be accessible. Everything else would be blown out. So looking for bed and trying to catch those fish was just going to be, they were going to be blind fishing. They were just poking in the air, hoping like heck they would hit a hole. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, that's it.
Right.
Me, I knew exactly where the fish were, and it didn't matter where the wind blew from. It didn't. It didn't change anything. The fish were there, and they were coming to me. So it's not like, you know, you get a stretch of bank that's like, oh, there's like 3 or 4 beds in this pocket, and there's like 2 or 3 in that pocket. That's a lot of running. I had to start my big motor like 5 times, and that was it. So, you know, but I recognize that. I go back to last year winning the first BAM tournament. The first 2 days, it was a struggle, and the water was falling, and then that temperature change came in. Remember, and I showed up that morning, and guys are going, "How do you feel?" And I'm sitting in 10th place, and I go, "I am ready to go right now. Things are changing, and they're not going to be ready for it." I said it straight open in an interview. Things are changing, and I'm ready for it. They're not going to be ready for it. The fish are going to come to me, and I absolutely crushed them. My bags went up every day. Everybody else's bags went down. and that's from just having that experience of seeing those conditions over and over and over again. So I think that experience has a lot to it. Skill, that's an amazing deal. But you know, let's say you're out shaking a minnow, and you know, and you're in the 5 to 6 foot of water, and all of a sudden those fish move up on the bank, and you just don't see that number of fish. They're all in, and the guys going down the bank with a flipping stick are just wailing on, you know, 5 and 6 pounders, and you're out there catching, you know, skinny bucks that have already post-spawned, and you know, you're out there catching 3.5s and 4s. Guess what? You may be catching them, but these guys are going to whoop you. And so you got to know when to zig and when to zag, and that's all part of the learning game, you know. And that's what I mean by I've got 40 years of experiences. I've seen enough changes in weather conditions and patterns and fish behavior to know that things are changing. And I said it day 2 and day 1. I knew it was changing day 2. First thing I did, I looked at Randy. I go, "Hey, fish changed for you?" And he goes, "This is tough." I go, "Yeah." I started laughing. I was happy. And I caught my fish, and it was like, okay, I got enough fish. I'll make my 15 fish. I ended up with 17 fish. But I'd already put my plan together and knew I was just bumping up the keeper count so I could make sure I was going out closer to the top rather than further down the line.
Well,
so
Greg,
yeah.
I'm not going to say I've fished against you for 40 years because that would just make me older than I want to be. But I mean, I have seen you fish for so long and so much, man. And I've got to tell you, thank you for coming on and doing this show, man. Thank you for all the knowledge you just dropped on everybody out there. Guys, I always say this. If you did not get some kind of a wealth of information, please start over and listen again, because Greg dropped a bunch of information on you right there that you should know about. Greg did a great job, went out there. He is our first BAM Trail Super 60 champion, $50,000 richer. Greg, tell everybody real quick. I mean, we're gonna be out of time here, even with our little issues we had.
Yep.
Tell everybody a little bit about where they can follow you, how they can find you, and what they can do to get out there and be Greg Gutierrez fans, man.
Well, I do got my Facebook pages. I got Greg Gutierrez Fishing, and that's my pro angler one. I got a personal one that's Greg Gutierrez, but you know, I go to the Greg Gutierrez Fishing one. That's where I'm at. Frenzy Baits. I'm also, you know, I got a website on there you could check out. It's simple. It's not much. But Instagram is what double G .pro angler. I'll be putting some more stuff up on that, and you can reach me on any one of those platforms. And if you want to ask me a question, I'm always an open book. I will give you everything you need to do that I know of, that I will work, or the best option that fits you. So I'm usually open. So don't worry about getting a hold of me. I'm just that kind of guy. I can do it. I can talk.
He can talk, man, and I've had him up on the stage, and we've done this show. Greg, always one of my favorite people to have on this show. Thank you very much again for doing this. We really appreciate it. Thank you for telling us how you went out there and won that great Super 60 event. Can't wait to seeing you go down there and attack Mojave. Everybody, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you in just 2 more weeks, and we'll have another great angler on the line.